Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today on the Man Blitz. I'd just like to take a moment to remind you to follow us on Twitter at Man Blitz. Visit us at www.3manblitz.com. You can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Breaker, and don't forget to view us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. Thanks guys.
Hey guys, welcome into another edition of the Man Blitz College Edition. Today we are going to cover the Florida Gators and their 2020 season. Andrew, hand in your Georgia card right now.
I had to do it.
All right, so you got me, Jeremy. You got Andrew, obviously, over there doing a Gator chomp.
It's the only excuse I'll ever have to do it. So
Yeah. And then we're joined today by special guest Benjamin Hester, Trashed Ben. Kwesi is out. He is on vacation, enjoying the sun and some beach.
Sipping on some drinks.
So let's go ahead and pour us a shot, and we'll get started. All right. And I would say this one's to the Florida Gators, but we'll make it to the state of Florida because that's where Kwesi Bear is this week. Yay, Kwesi Bear.
The state of Florida.
The whole state.
Just everywhere except Gainesville.
Go for three. As Ben doesn't take a shot, he's going to, drink from the bottle. Ready?
Good stuff.
All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump right into the schedule. And then after that, after we give our predictions and the breakdown, we'll hand it over to Andrew, and he'll give us some interesting facts. So last year was a very, very good year for Florida. They ended up 10-2. Their only losses came to the national champions, LSU Tigers, which was a pretty good game. It ended up being 28-42, but that was, I think, the worst loss and the closest game they had, probably. Pretty close anyway. And they also lost to Georgia, 24-17.
Go Dogs!
I almost said it. I can't even bring myself to say that. And then they finished the season out beating number 24 Virginia 36-28. So looking at the 2020 schedule, the non-conference games, which I think we're all in agreement more than likely that they're all going to be wins. They've got Eastern Washington, South Alabama. They have New Mexico State, and then their annual game with Florida State, in-state rival. So
with them Noles.
With them Seminoles, I got them winning all of those games. I have them going 10-2 again, so a repeat. That's what I have. I have their losses coming to Tennessee. I can't do it. I've got them actually beating Tennessee this year, which it just pains me. I've got them losing to LSU and Georgia. Again,
Go Dogs!
So the exact same losses.
Hey,
I will say that there's
four straight.
No doubt. There's a couple of games on here though that I think will be closer than they would like to admit, and it could swing another way. I could see them being 11-1, and I could see them being as low as 8-4 if the wheels fall off. But after looking at them, I've got them 10-2, and I'm pretty confident in Florida this year, unfortunately.
All right. So throw me a bone. The 8-4 you're looking at, what other two teams would you say they could possibly lose those to? If you're just speculation.
I got you. The games I think that they would need to look out for is Kentucky. And I only say that I'm not high on Kentucky this year. I think it's just early in the year. And Kentucky's got some they've been playing them pretty good here lately. So they got their quarterback back. I think his name's Terry Wilson. I look at the Tennessee game. It's at Neyland. I don't think there's going to be many fans in the stands, unfortunately. I look at that game, and then another one I would throw in there is Ole Miss. And I only throw it in there because if their offense can move the ball, and it may be troublesome for them and their offense, and it's sandwiched right between LSU and Georgia. And I think there's a bye week in there, but that could be a trap game for them, Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin.
There's a bye week after Ole Miss, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like it. I dig it. And, Ben, do you have a win-loss for us, my friend? Or just a projected record? I'm sorry, what was that?
I went with 10-2 also.
10-2.
Mm-hmm.
The Georgia and LSU as well.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, as much as I hate the Gators, there are hated rivals here in the state of Georgia. I would like to give them an 11-1. And let me throw this at you. We did our LSU show previously. That was actually the first college show we did, first college edition of Man Blitz. And I have them beating Eastern Michigan, Kentucky, South Alabama, Tennessee. Unfortunately, Jeremy, sorry, bud.
We'll see.
South Carolina.
We'll see.
And I had a win at LSU. So I'm going to stick with continuity here, and I'm going to say that they do get that win at home. And I'm going to say they beat Ole Miss, and I'm going to say they lose to Georgia in Jacksonville. And then we'll say they win out the rest of their season. Vandy, Missouri, New Mexico State, and Florida State. Now, I have an interesting question for you guys. Okay. In this scenario, because I'm going to have Georgia with an advantage against the rest of the SEC, we'll say Georgia wins out their season against the SEC East. Even if they lose a game to Alabama, if they still beat Florida in a head-on game, then Georgia is looking at the SEC East championship. You're looking at Georgia going to the SEC championship. So an 11-1 Florida team. How does their playoff shot look? Not winning the East. Your only lost game was a close loss to Georgia.
Yeah, I think it would probably be pretty high. I usually see an SEC team that's sitting there maybe with one, at most 2 losses. And I think it really depends, honestly, how the rest of the conferences shake out. If you've got a couple undefeateds, 1 loss, you're done, right? If you got 6 teams undefeated, that's just how it is.
Yeah. But
and
it's never like that, though.
I mean, occasionally, you kind of see it, and then teams will lose one that they're not supposed to, and blah blah blah. But I think they've got an easy schedule, honestly. You look at who they're playing and where they're playing them for an SEC schedule. It is pretty easy. Their first 3 games aren't that bad. I mean, it's really just the LSU, Ole Miss, Georgia, and like you said, they got a bye week in there. Their last 4 games: Vandy, Missouri, New Mexico. That's that's a negative thing for them. Unless they're just destroying people 56-0. You can't look at their schedule and make that an argument for them, because it's not a great schedule.
You say that, but I'm projecting that Tennessee will finish the season right on the cusp of the top 25, if not in it. LSU will definitely finish in the top 25, most likely in the top 10 or 15. Georgia usually always finishes. I mean, the past 2 seasons they've been sitting at number 5. So you're looking at a top 5 team there. You've got 3 ranked teams that you've went through on your schedule, and if you only lose one of those games, I mean,
it's just
that's
3 though.
Not that bad. But
I don't know.
3 ranked teams.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard for one loss SEC school not to be in the playoff.
Exactly. Look at Alabama.
Undefeated Power 5 schools because of the strength of schedule and the conferences they play in.
And this is coming from a Michigan fan.
I'm a Michigan guy, but we got a long ways to go to get to the SEC level.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
I wonder just kind of off cuff about like Notre Dame, with their schedule. Who are they going to play? Are they going to fill those with Power 5 teams all the way through? Are they going to play the more ACC teams? If they're smart, they would play some hard teams.
Well, I know there was talk of them filling that first week of the Alabama schedule, where they were supposed to be playing USC, and then the Pac-12 canceled all their non-conference games. But I think the Alabama AD dismissed those rumors and said that they were going to most likely fill that spot with BYU. So what are you to do? I know that you, as Notre Dame, you've got one SEC team on your schedule this season. I know they're playing Arkansas, I believe it was. But that's not, that's not really pushing the envelope or anything. But Notre Dame's schedule disappeared faster than Monte Tao's girlfriend. So
Monte Tao, she was gone. She was gone. Surely, if they're looking hard at replacing all of their lost games with ACC teams, because they would be able to slide in and play most ACC teams if they're not playing their non-conference games
and do well.
Because every other sports in the ACC, you could really ease in. I'm really surprised that USC's not keeping that game on the schedule, because that's a big money game.
That is.
How do you not keep that?
But I mean, you can't go against what your conference declares. You know, you are joined the conference for a reason. You've got to abide by the rules. So, but this is about Florida. So, Gator fans, let's keep moving. I'm gonna hit you with 6 facts. I'm gonna give you an extra.
Oh my God.
Mind blown.
Oh my God.
SEC tradition is normally limited to 5 facts, but without Kwesi here, I'm gonna hit an extra one. So hopefully he's on the beach somewhere listening in and cracking up like he does. But let's talk about their winning streak versus Kentucky. It was broken a couple seasons back, but Florida had a 31-game winning streak versus Kentucky. And it actually was the 4th longest in consecutive games played, like with conferences that play consecutive, year after year. It was the 4th longest streak in history. So that's a big deal. Congratulations, Florida. But, good job, Kentucky, on not letting them bully you around too much.
Finally got that win.
Finally. Florida first played Georgia in Jacksonville in 1915. The neutral site rivalry game became known as the Lord's I've been drinking, I'm sorry. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party, which they've changed the name to like the Twin City rivalry or something like that. But, we still call it the WLOCP. That's what we know it as. And that's the one thing that us Georgia and Florida fans can agree on. It's the cocktail party. That's what it is. Y'all can't change it. Cocktail party. Okay, so the Okefenokee Oar became a trophy awarded to the winner of the annual Florida-Georgia game, which honestly I believe is, don't hate me Georgia and Florida fans for saying this, but the second greatest rivalry in all of college football, close behind the Iron Bowl. You just can't top the Iron Bowl. I'm sorry, guys. But the Okefenokee Oar is the prize awarded. I'll see you over there, Ben, talking about the game. But it's the prize awarded to the winner of that game. It was made out of a 1,000-year-old cypress tree that grew in the Okefenokee Swamp, which was territory that was disputed between Georgia and Florida for years. It's right there on the state line, and the oar has both teams' logo on it. It's a cool little thing.
I always heard that game is called as like Little Mardi Gras because when they see it and everybody's tailgating, it's basically Mardi Gras. They're just having a great time down there, and I actually wanted to go to that game one day. So
yeah,
one day I'll still wear my orange.
It's even as a Georgia fan, it's one I've never gotten to go to.
Yeah, we need to go, man. We gotta go.
Yeah, absolutely. 3-man blitz needs to hit that up. Okay, so quarterback John Reeves, he was the quarterback from 1969 to 1971. He needed just a few more yards to set the NCAA passing record. So the Florida defense ran a play known as the Gator Flop. They were playing against Miami, and the defense, as soon as the ball was snapped, they just laid down on the field. Let Miami run in and score the touchdown real quick, and then John Reeves got to go back out there. Yeah, check it out. John Reeves got to go back out there and throw a few more balls, and he set the NCAA passing record. They did that so he could set that record. I thought that was a really cool thing. And the Gators were known as the second-half team during the 1960s because Dr. Robert Cade was testing a sports drink by the name of what?
Gatorade.
Gatorade.
The team, which was used to playing in extreme heat and humidity, responded well to the new sports drink and was able to play harder later in games. I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, I like Gatorade. I don't like the Gators, but I like Gatorade. Just the orange.
I do like Gatorade.
Wait. That was only 5.
Oh, there's 6. One more.
Uh-oh.
There's one more. Pre-game tradition for the Florida Gators. This started when Coach, it's all right, Ben. It's all right. Look up. Be proud. You're on the 3-man blitz. Tradition started when Coach Dan Mullen took over the program. Mrs. Mullen passionately whispers sweet nothings into each player's ear and gives them a little smooch before each game. And she was quoted as saying, "It doesn't matter if it's the first string quarterback or the third string wide receiver. I'm going to continue supporting the team." She also writes them little notes.
She does, and she sons Mama M.
it should be noted that as far as we can tell, with all the research we've done, this was not a tradition that she had at Mississippi State. Only since she came to Florida.
Somewhere Kwesi can't breathe.
He's dying right now on the beach.
So I've asked other Florida fans, like, what is going on with that? I remember sitting down, I think it was probably before a Tennessee-Florida game, and it showed Florida, like, getting off the bus. And I was sitting there like, am I really seeing this? I didn't even know who she was. It was just some blonde lady, and she's got the Florida player, and they're like this. She's got him, his face in her hands, and she's up like this, and she's talking to him, and then they kiss on the lips. I'm like, oh, it must be his girlfriend. It's a little weird. No, that's Dan Mullen's wife. And she does it to all the players.
I think the most famous shot is her and Felipe Franks.
Probably.
I'd pay over off bus.
It's
now,
so weird.
I just want to know, is this just for players or is it for fans too? Because I can throw on some Gator gear and run down there. I mean, I'm just kidding. Caitlin, if you're watching this, I love you and you're so hot. I don't want Dan Mullen's wife.
I just want to know honestly. So if you're listening on YouTube, or if you got our handles on Twitter or anything, a way to get a hold of us, please let us know what you think about what's going on there.
And
I'd love to read through all of them all.
Listen, I'm a Georgia fan. I'm a Georgia fan. Jeremy's a Tennessee fan, and Ben's a Michigan fan. So none of us have a reason to like anything to do with Florida Gators. So we may be a little harder than we should be. So set us straight if need be. We appreciate all comments and opinions. But man,
bruh, she's making out with the players, dude.
Well, bruh, tell us a little bit about this Florida offense because we got to move on so Kwesi can breathe. I know he's listening. He's got to. Let's give him a breather.
Okay, so we're moving on. All right, so their offense. Honestly, I think their offense gets a bad rep. I think people look at them, and rightfully so, they think that Florida, they think defense first. It's kind of the opposite is the way it used to be.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I do know that statistically, the last 3 years that Dan Mullen's defense has performed better than his offense, and he's had Todd Grantham every year, and that's counting the year from Ole Miss as well. So he gets this rep as an offensive guru, as a quarterback whisperer, and this and that. And see, this is where you may be speaking to me because I don't necessarily feel that it's earned. So maybe you have something for me.
He gets that rep because of the quarterbacks that he's coached before, mostly Tebow. Okay, Heisman. Yay! Here's you. How many Heisman winners has Florida had? Can you guys answer? It's 3.
3?
It's 3.
Oh, let me guess. Spurrier, Tebow. I don't know the third one.
He's also a quarterback. They've all been quarterbacks. The last one's Danny Werfel. Danny Werfel. It's like early 90s, I think. It might be late 80s. Anyway. But anyway, they get a bad rap. They had not a great offense, and their defense is better. They've had fantastic defenses the last several years. They're starting to have a battle with LSU as being known as DBU, right? But I mean, if you throw out the first game of the season where they only scored 20 points against Miami, which was not good last year,
dude, that was a bad game.
It was a bad game.
That was like the game that opened the season, and it was so bad. I was so disappointed. Bad.
I remember thinking okay, well, Florida's garbage this year, so let's move on. But really, Felipe Franks, he got hurt in the Kentucky game late in the fourth quarter or sometime in the fourth quarter, and then Kyle Trask comes in. Kyle Trask was like a career backup. He hadn't started a game since his freshman year or something in high school.
Bing, 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 you hit one of Andrew's key players.
Yay, Kyle Trask.
Trask, the underdog. I'm sorry, bud.
No, go ahead, man. Tell us about Kyle Trask.
Kyle Trask, the underdog, 6'5", 239 pounds. Started 12 games last season, 354 attempts, 234 completions, a 66.9 completion percentage rate, which is not that bad.
No,
2,491 yards, 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 4 rushing touchdowns. I was actually rather impressed when I read these stats. And to hit your little fact there, was a backup in high school to none other than Miami quarterback De'Aaron King.
Oh, snap. So there you go. So enters Kyle Trask, career backup. He plays well. He ends up eking out that win against Kentucky. His first start comes in the swamp versus Tennessee, and he made Tennessee look stupid. They did what they needed to do. He threw a lot over the middle. He wasn't the most accurate in that game, but he got better every game. And like you just read his stats, I mean, 25 touchdowns to 7 interceptions through 10 starts is not bad for an SEC school that's playing SEC school defenses as a freshman. It's not bad. So maybe that's a little bit of what they talk about with Dan Mullen. He's a quarterback whisperer. I don't know, because I didn't see it with Felipe Franks, who's now at Arkansas.
I will say I think he got more out of Trask than we believed he could. I will say that. And I wasn't like a huge believer in Kyle Trask. Watching Florida play, like, he doesn't necessarily like pass the eye test, like I like to say. You know, that's a thing I say. He doesn't pass the eye test. But when you look at these stats, like, numbers don't lie. So
he looked good. So I would disagree. I would say that he did pass the eye test. Of course, I saw him slaughter Tennessee, right? And I was very disappointed. Tennessee has a very long history of letting backup Florida quarterbacks look like Heisman winners. And that's all I'll say about that, because this is a Florida video, not a Tennessee video. But they did score 34 points against Tennessee. And then they had 38 points against the nobody and Townsend or somebody. 24 points against the number 12 Auburn defense. 28 points against LSU. 38 against South Carolina. 17 against your Dogs. 56 against Vandy. 23 Missouri. 40. They threw up a 40 burger on Florida State last season.
40 burger?
40 burger. I don't know, but I liked it. It sounded good. And then 36. And then 36 against Virginia. So I think that it complements their defense well. So just moving on. Some of the players that they lost that are key is they lost their starting running back and LaMichael Pirine, and they lost him to the NFL draft. I think he was a senior too, but I don't know. I didn't write it down. He went pretty late. I can look it up here in a second. Yeah. I'll look it up when you're doing yours. And then they lost wide receiver Van Jefferson. So that's some of the production that they're going to have to fill back in. LaMichael Pirine, he had 132 attempts for 676 yards and 6 touchdowns. He ran at a clip of 5.1 yards per carry, which is not too shabby. He had 40 receptions for 262 yards and 5 touchdowns. So you're losing 11 touchdowns production from your running back position. And then Van Jefferson had 49 receptions, which wasn't great, but he was really fast. He was really talented. He had 6 touchdowns, 657 yards. So you're losing a little bit. You're returning 6 starters. So that should be pretty good. Of those 6, you got Kyle Trask, which we just talked about. You got Trevon Grimes, a receiver who's a senior. He didn't have actually that impressive of numbers from what I looked at. But you got him returning as a starter. Kyle Pitts, who's returning as a tight end.
Oh, you hit another one. Yeah, you hit another key player. You knew that. You knew. I told you before.
You did.
Kyle Pitts Jr., 54 receptions, 649 yards, 5 touchdowns, 12 yards per reception. That's not bad. He's gotten bigger and stronger through the offseason. This guy is 6'6", 246 pounds. This dude is a beast. He is a serious threat over the middle and an easy release valve for Kyle Trask. Make Kyle Trask look a lot better.
So Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts, as soon as Kyle Trask got in the game, they hooked up, and it was like, they had a plan. Of course,
though. Florida has Kyle to Kyle.
Kyle to Kyle. Some things about Kyle Pitts that I didn't hear was that he was an all-SEC tight end. He had 54 catches, which was most on the team. And they actually, I hate to say it because I hate to give Florida any kind of props, but they actually use their tight ends the way they should be used. Mm-hmm. They use it more like you would expect one of these big tight ends from the NFL to be used. He blocks when he has to, and then when they see the coverages starting to, get to where they feel there's an advantage, they take advantage of it. When he's guarded up by a linebacker, he goes out and he gets the first downs and he moves the chains, and he can run down the seam and I just
he was tearing up defense.
Yeah,
so he's a very good top.
Your other three returning starters that you have are all on the offensive line, and that would be your left tackle, and which is a really awesome name, Stone Forsyth, who's a senior. Yeah. On the opposite side, you have right tackle. And I'm not sure if it's John DeLance or if it's Jean DeLance. It's probably John. So forgive me.
French and it's Jean.
Jean DeLance. That's how I read it when I was in it. And then who they have as their projected starter at center is Brett Heggie. So he played a different position on the line last year, and they're moving him over to center from all things I've read. So somebody important to mention for you guys is the backup to Kyle Trask is Emory Jones.
Yes.
So Emory Jones, if you followed Florida last year, he is a very mobile type quarterback. They bring him in when they want to run like a wildcat or if they want to run a heavy RPO. He's very talented. It was actually kind of surprised when when Trask got the start over Emory Jones because they talk about him so well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Emory Jones come out every so often and run a wildcat package, or when the defense starts to expect that, maybe throw a couple times. He's a quarterback, and I think he's pretty talented. Other than that, I don't have a ton. Other than I'm pretty sure Dan Mullen is the one that calls the plays. If you look at their coaching page on their website, they have two co-offensive coordinators, which I found very weird, John Hevesy and Billy Gonzalez. What's up with that?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anybody having two co-offensive coordinators? Nobody's the offensive coordinator. What is this?
It's funny though. We talk about like some of these teams, like Missouri, not having an offensive coordinator at all, and you're like, "Oh, you're taking on too much responsibility as the head coach." And Dan Mullen's like, "No, I'm going to take off double responsibility. I'm going to have co-offensive coordinators."
Don't worry, they're co-ing it.
We had it at Georgia in the 2018 season with guy at Tennessee, Jim Chaney, and James Coley. They were co-offensive coordinators. And it ended up that Coley ended up taking over the position from Chaney whenever Chaney left, and I think that was kind of a thing that they expected. So it may be one of those deals where they think they might be in a transition year and ready to move one of those guys over.
It's weird when you see it as co-offensive coordinator because you usually see somebody being the offensive coordinator and then somebody else being the assistant offensive coordinator. But whatever, splitting hairs, semantics, or whatever you want to say. The only thing I think worth mentioning is that this will be Dan Mullen's third year with Florida. He's 21-5, which is really good. So he's not done bad. His overall coaching record's 90-51. So I expect them to be a lot better than what I hope they are. So that's why I got them 10-2. I mean, yep. So I'll pass it over to who wants to take it. Ben, you want to talk about defense?
Trashed Ben.
Let's go with defense. Including the bowl game, the Gators finished 11-2, same record as the Crimson Tide.
Interesting fact.
Two teams I don't like.
7th overall defense, ranked defense. It's the second year in a row, both years under Mullen, that they finished inside the top 10 for overall defense.
Don't mean to cut you off, but that's the exact point that I was making as far as Dan Mullen being touted as an offensive guy. His defense always does better under Todd Grantham than his offense actually does. So,
but he's had Felipe Franks too, and I think we all can agree that Franks didn't really pan out. Other than making out with his wife, what did he do there?
He yelled at some Miami fans. I know you saw that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben. Continue, bud.
They gave up 103 rushing yards per game and 202 passing yards per game, which is impressive considering they played an SEC schedule. Almost 2 turnovers per game for the defense. 4.9 yards per play. Sorry, Jeremy. Most of that you see, but okay. They're returning 5 starters. 3 of them are in the secondary. So that's, like Jeremy said, they're battling LSU for DBU. It's supposed to be their strong area on the defense.
You want to give us some of these names of some of these guys they're returning? You got some of those?
Yes. Donovan Steiner had 4 interceptions last year. He led the team with takeaways.
Ooh.
So he's back. Defensive lineman, Daryl Slayton, is 5'6", 358 pounds. He had 30 tackles and 2 sacks last year. He's supposed to fill in for their leading tackler that left last year for the draft, Jonathan Greenard. And also David Reese left last year. There's a couple people that they're looking to step in. You know this guy. The former 5-star transfer from Georgia.
Brenton Cox.
Brenton Cox Jr. They're looking for him to come in and fill the buck position, which is a hybrid pass rusher linebacker spot.
And let me tell you, man, as a Georgia fan, as soon as Brenton Cox decided he was leaving, and there was a Georgia. Let's be honest. Like, I'm not trying to toot my own team's horn here, but Georgia has the most loaded linebacker room in the nation. So, maybe he didn't see a direct path to sunlight or whatever, but he was definitely, I think he was definitely going to be used last season. He ends up going to Florida, and a lot of people talk like, oh, well, he was this, he was that, he wasn't going to be a starter anyway. That's kind of a thing that fan bases do, and you see it a lot on social media. And, I mean, like all fan bases are guilty of it. But Brenton Cox, let's be completely honest, he was a huge addition to this Florida defense, and I think he's going to do really well.
Especially with the linebackers being thin at Florida. That's one of the thinnest positions on the team. So that's a big help for them. They're a very young defense. They have 18 freshmen on defense.
Ooh, God, that's a lot.
They have 9 seniors, 8 juniors, and 8 sophomores, and 18 freshmen.
Yeah, they got Todd Grantham, though, and he seems to be a really good coordinator for the defense.
That's the kind of the same way I felt about Kevin Steele at Auburn. Even though he needed to reload, I still feel like they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Well, they're known. When you hear their name, you're like, oh yeah, that's just how it is.
Their defensive line and their secondary is supposed to be the strong point on the team. They have a sophomore defensive back that's the potential sleeper of the secondary, Chester Kimball. He's a sophomore DB. He's expected to step in and fill the star position for the secondary. He played the star position for the Florida defense. It's called the star nickel position. And he plays cornerback, safety, and linebacker at times.
Exactly. Star, for those of you listening who don't really understand, that star position is considered more of like a flex position on the defense where you move around where you're needed. It takes a very skilled, talented player to fill that position.
Yeah, no
definitely.
doubt.
Very fast guy too, usually.
Now, Ben, I thought you were going to talk about Kaiir Elam. From what I've seen,
I did too.
That's who I thought you were about to say. So he is the one that had that interception that won them the bowl game. And there's like high hopes for him this season. He was a freshman last year. He's a sophomore this year. That's why I thought you were going to talk about him.
Yeah, I think he won SEC All-Freshman honors.
He did.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
So that's another guy. And the loss of C.J. Henderson can't be understated. Was he was the first corner taken?
Yes.
Was he the first or he was either the first or second corner taken in the draft?
He was.
I think so.
Oh no, he was the second. Detroit took the first one.
Yeah.
He was the second taken.
Yeah,
he was taken like with the 9th overall pick, I believe.
And which was, I'm glad to see him gone as a Tennessee fan. He was really good. So, do you think, Ben, do you think their defense is going to be on par with where they were the past 2 seasons under Dan Mullen? And
I think they'll finish inside the top 10 with no problem. Again, that's a trend that they've had. Even before Mullen got there, they had a decent defense. I don't see them having an issue finishing inside the top 10.
Yeah. Come on, Andrew. What you think?
Well, I
With the
will
young
say
guys, they played games last year. A lot of these guys played in 12 games. They played every game. So they have experience coming back.
and I'm going to go ahead and round out my key players real quick. I had two guys on defense that Ben was just dancing around them. Like I felt like he was gonna say their name, and then he just like passed right around them. But he was like, I ain't falling for your bait. Nah. Defensive tackle, Kyrie Campbell. He had 14 solo tackles, 25 assisted tackles, 39 total, 4 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble. And this guy is 6'3", 340 pounds.
Woo, big one.
Yes, he's. I like to use this phrase a lot when I'm talking about defensive line. You have to have that anchor, and Kyrie Campbell, he's a senior coming back. He is going to be that anchor, and his deal is he's really good at creating. Hey, I hear somebody repping my dogs over there.
Sorry, my dogs are wild. They're barking at like the wall or something.
But he's good at creating chaos, which is what you need. He may not finish the season with the best stats in the world, but he's that guy who's going to make the holes for you. And his body, he's such a big dude. He helps close gaps and stuff runs. So his seniority experience will help this line for sure. And my other guy, as you were talking about, defensive line and their secondary. In their secondary, they've got Sean Davis. He's a senior as well. He had 33 solo tackles last year, 18 assisted, 51 total. And this guy's a safety and had 51 tackles. That's pretty impressive. Mm-hmm. 3 interceptions, which is really good. He's 5'11", 185 pounds. He's kind of a smaller guy. But right now he's looking like a 5th-round projection, and I'm sure he hopes to improve that by returning for his senior season. And he was the starter last year, so I only look for him to improve. But he is single-handedly, I'm going to say single-handedly, it's a team effort, of course, but he's the reason that they won that Auburn game. And I use single-handedly as a pun there because he had a one-handed pick and 6 tackles in that win and won SEC Defensive Player of the Week. So I'll look for him to make a huge impact coming back as well.
Another guy to mention is Zachary Carter. He's 6'4", 263 pounds. He plays strong side defensive end and defensive tackle. So they're looking for him to step up and produce more this year.
He's another one of those guys they move around when they need to.
Yep. Right. He had 3 tackles, solo tackles last year, 4.5 sacks.
Yeah. So I'm just flying off the seat of my pants here. I didn't look this up, but if I'm not mistaken, Florida led the nation in sacks last year. Did they not?
I don't know. I can look.
Cue the elevator music. I did not say Jeopardy. I said elevator. But if they didn't finish the season leading in sacks, I know they were for a long time. And there's a lot you can say about other defenses. You can talk a lot about Ohio State. You can talk a lot about Georgia. But Florida was really good at creating havoc. And havoc, of course, is defined as, busting up plays in the backfield. You're talking like stuffed runs. You're talking about quarterback hurries. You're talking about sacks. You're talking about passing for loss of yards, stuff like that. Florida was all over that. Their defense swarmed. And it was a sight to behold last season.
Yeah, Florida finished 4th in total sacks.
Well, I know they were definitely up there.
Yeah. Would you like to guess who the 3 in front of them are?
Oh, I'm going to say Ohio State.
That is one. Chase Young. Come on.
Yeah, Chase Young was a beast.
He was a beast.
The other teams. Utah State?
Nope.
No?
No, it's Pittsburgh and SMU.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yep.
But anyway, the point that I was going to make earlier when we were talking about, is Florida going to be as good as they were last year? Dan Mullen is not known for his recruiting, but he is known for his coaching up of talent. So this guy brings in a lot of 3-stars, the occasional 4 and 5-star, not as many as you would like from a program as prestigious as this. But he really pulls the talent out of these guys, and he really handpicks a lot of these 3-stars that he sees potential in, that maybe are being underrated and this and that. So I will give him credit in that. But I don't think they're at a position to really win it all yet. They've definitely improved from McElwain. Jim, what was his name? Jim McElwain. Yeah, you guys remember the picture of him naked on the shark? Remember that? You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that needs to be in here. But I just don't think they're quite there yet. I think they're close. And I think this year they're definitely going to compete for that East crown against Georgia. It's definitely going to be a competition, and the SEC East championship will run through Jacksonville this year, for sure. But
for sure, he says. Nay.
Sorry, Jerry.
I say.
You guys got anything else to add in our Florida video here?
I'll just say it does look brighter than it did last season. It really does, because the defense should be about on par, like you and Ben have kind of agreed to. The defense is what's been holding this team together until their offense can kind of find it. And I have I don't know how you want to say this. There's the picture. For you guys that aren't watching the video, Ben pulled up the picture of Jim McElwain on the shark.
Exit out of the podcast and go to the video right now. Go to you.
You're welcome.
But the defense is the strong point, and the question mark is the offense. How can they fare? And I think they can do well. We'll see. I didn't even mention it, but their starting running back is projected to be Damian Pierce. So we'll see. And Malik Davis behind him, maybe a timeshare. I hope you lose every game, Florida fans, just so you know.
But as the 3-man blitz, we brought you fair and balanced coverage to the best of our ability from 3 teams that despise you. But we despised you, but we respect you enough to give you an accurate projection.
Yeah, we took our team hats off and we actually looked at the facts and tried to shoot you straight.
Georgia fan gave you 11-1, so
numbers don't lie. Top 10 defense.
Sorry.
All right, and we'd like to give a special thanks to Trashed Ben, old Ben Hester, for joining us.
Thank you, Ben.
And
appreciate it.
Stepping up for Kwesi this week. Yeah, we appreciate it. And as always, guys, be sure to check out our next video and go for 3.
Go for 3.
Go for 3.
Yeah. Bye, guys.